All right. Today we're going to talk about food. Disclaimer, if you love to cook and if you like to cook all the time, you should not watch this video. So, the story today is how for 10 years plus I've been using so-called future foods, which allow me to eat extremely healthy with exact balance of nutrients for less than 5 minutes of work per day, even sometimes less than that. So the story here is a little bit complicated, and therefore I think it's going to be easier if I go through a couple of questions I've received from friends and students before, what happened and how I came to this experience. So the first question I received was, what inspired you to start using future foods like Soylent, and how has it impacted your lifestyle? So the inspiration really was twofold. First of all, I've had some episodes of IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome, and that meant I had cramps, I had problems, digestion, and I also did not really know exactly where it was coming from at the time. I didn't have a diagnosis. I didn't know exactly what the problem was. I just knew that food wasn't working very well. And the other reason is that I have a really crazy work schedule, and it's really hard to properly schedule time for cooking and grocery shopping and this kind of stuff. And getting healthy food on a budget, I've not always had enough money to spend on fancy ingredients, was just not easy. And so for some time, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I was really looking for a way to resolve that. Eating healthy, not spending too much time, not spending too much money. And at the time, I met a couple of people and they introduced me to this product called Soylent. So Soylent is a product that was created some time ago with as principle, make it simple, make it good, make it cheap. It's a meal replacement thing, and it's called future food because contrary to previous meal replacement technology like diet products, this was meant to be an everyday thing and also be relatively pleasant to consume. And so the format of Soylent originally is a bottle with liquid inside that tastes like milk, although there's nothing about milk in that. It's a very complicated cocktail of different chemicals that amount to an exactly balanced full diet with all the macronutrients that correspond to someone who is working regularly. You can add protein to that. There are also some mixes with extra protein added if you want to exercise more. But the bottom line is you take them in 400 calories per bottle and you have your full diet sorted. Now, one issue at the time is that Soylent is kind of on the expensive side, or at least it was for me at the time. And so I searched a little bit further, and that's how I came to a panel of other different products, because many other companies have had the same idea since Soylent came out. And the result is that I ended up choosing a product that came out from my city in Amsterdam, that was called at the time Joylent, a wordplay on Soylent, and has been renamed to Jimmy Joy. And the way it impacts my lifestyle is that every single day, most of the days, most of the time, I will put the thing into my shaker, add some water, drink it, and I feel full. And my balance of macronutrients is perfect. Less than 5 minutes, usually less than 30 seconds, and it's done. What are the main benefits you've experienced from incorporating future foods into my diet? Well, it's not just incorporating them. At the beginning, it was maybe 50-50, but then within a year, it was mostly 95% plus of my meals with future foods. And the main benefit is a time saver, extremely regular metabolism. Like my body is just very happy about this, and I have no surprises whatsoever in how my body reacts. And so my food intake is extremely predictable, very stable, and my metabolism is just doing everything I wanted to do all the time. So generally, it's making me a much better version of myself. So how do you balance future foods with traditional meals in my daily routine? So when I'm alone, living on my own, I do not really cook for myself. It's extremely rare. I find it difficult for all the reasons I've explained earlier. And also, I don't find cooking generally very appealing. The only pleasure I have in cooking is when I'm cooking with and for friends. And so that's the answer really to this question. Whenever I have people over, or when I go to a friend's place and we are going to have a meal together, I will offer to cook, because then I will enjoy the social aspect of it. And I actually can cook pretty decently, and I like cooking in a social setting, and I like to make an effort, so I can make actually very nice meals. And that will be maybe a couple times a month, depending on my social life. Have you noticed any long-term effects on your health or energy levels from using Future Foods? Well, yes, generally the effect has been extremely good. Energy levels, fantastic. I have absolutely never any dip because of excess sugar. I don't have any hunger because I can consume it anytime I want during the day. Because it is so well balanced, you get the feeling of fullness, and you can get all your calories for a day without ever feeling too full or hungry, meaning that you can even balance your weight gain exactly like you want. And the other thing that's remarkable is that I can interleave that with snacks, but because I'm kind of full regularly from the thing all the time, I don't feel hungry for snacks. And that means that I never really use snacks as a way to fill the gaps because I don't feel the need to. And that means that generally my health has been really much better than it had been at any time before I started. And that is just amazing. And the last question is, what advice would you give to someone curious about trying Future Foods for the first time? I will have two different main pieces of advice. The number one is, there are many different products on the market, and it's not so clear you'll know beforehand which one is the best for you. And that means that it may be useful to try out a couple of different products side by side. Of course, for each one you want to use or to try out, you probably want to try it for multiple days to see how it fits your metabolism, because if you just take one and then the other one at the next meal, then if they interact, you will know exactly which product is causing which effects. So if you try multiple products, 3 days per product or a week per product is going to be the best way to feel how it body reacts. The other thing I would recommend is that if you really try this, try at least to do 50% of your calorie intake with that instead of just having a little bit, because otherwise the rest of your diet is going to dominate and you won't know exactly how your body reacts to it. The other piece of advice, separately from try different products, is just be aware that your body is going to initially have to adjust. So that's going to be changes in the way you feel you're processing your food, and that stabilization period can last from a couple of days to a couple of weeks, depending on your metabolism. Generally, if you feel not great, like if you feel like you get stomach cramps and so on, you should just stop. Maybe something's not for you. But sometimes it could be like, oh, it feels great, I feel good, but maybe I get air. And that is because your gut microbiome is not adjusted yet. Or maybe you will feel bloated, or maybe you will feel like constipated, something like this. And so maybe just give it a time, or maybe combine with additional fluid intake like tea or things without sugar, of course, to ensure that everything moves smoothly, and then just go through the trial period and see where it goes. If you have any allergies, be careful with the ingredients of each product. Some of them contain gluten, some of them contain soy, some of them contain wheat. So like if you have any of these intolerances, just be sure to check the recipes. But there are plenty of products with different ingredient balances. And so any type of sensitivities usually has some matching product you can try. And so that's about it, what I have to share for this time. I will say it's been, for me, a great lifestyle improvement. I have so much more time available for not having to cook every day or per week meal prepping. And I never have to think about what I'm going to eat, because I just know I have a supply in my closet that I can always use at any time. And the expenditure is also extremely regular. I have a subscription. It comes every month, every 2 months. And so very predictable, very simple, huge time saver. And then all the health benefits, like the stability in diet intake, is so fantastic. So that is really something I find really hard to come back from. So again, if you really like to cook and you enjoy very complicated and nuanced foods, maybe that's not for you. I understand that. I too have my moments where I really like to have a fancy meal. but like it's only every now and then I will enjoy it 10 times more because I'm having that fancy meal maybe just once a month, every 2 months. So it becomes a treat, and then I appreciate that food much more. So that was it. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again at the next time.